Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, everyone. Those of you that are chiming in for the first time and don't know who I am, my name is Michele Williams, aka Coach Michele, Coach Michele in the building. I specialize in business, but in particular, I love helping individuals, aspiring entrepreneurs start and grow their home care business. Do Medicare and Medicaid pay providers the lowest in Texas? Medicaid is very low. I don't know about Medicare because Medicare doesn't pay for home care services unless you're talking about Medicare Advantage, and that's something different. But Medicaid in particular in the state of Texas is very low. I'm not going to say it's the lowest. If I had to guess, I would say it's the second lowest paying state for Medicaid. And this is just based on my experience. Things change all the time, with Louisiana being the lowest and then Texas being the second. So that's my answer. You could do research to determine. So question about caregivers pay. If you break down the pay, how much profit should I cut for the business? I was actually doing a video on that today. Caregiving is going to be the most expensive part of your overhead, and caregiving is a part of your overhead, right? But it is the major expense in your business. But it really depends on what you're shooting for. I like my clients to shoot for a 30% profit. Some companies operate at a 20% profit. I think, just because I've helped a lot of franchisees, they tend to be a little lower because they have those additional overheads, like they have to pay, royalty fees, they have to pay marketing fees and things like that. But I like to shoot for 30%. So you just have to know what your overhead is and then price your services accordingly, right? So I like to say, get all of your overhead together, your rent, your software, all the things you need to operate your business on a day-to-day basis, and know what that number is. And then you want to know what the going rate is in your area. How much do you want to pay your caregiver? And then you can kind of come up with your hourly rate. So that's what I recommend. Plus, you need to do your competitive shopping to know what your competitors are charging, what's the average. You can look at the Genworth survey and see, based on those numbers from a national level, and then it's also broken down by state. You can research. Now, if you research and you type in like CNA pay scale, in your county or your city or whatever, that number is going to be a little higher because it's taking into consideration all of the facilities, etc. So I would say do those things and then you can come up with your rate. And then once you do it and you figure out your numbers, if you're not at the profit you want, then of course you may need to charge your clients more if you're lower than what's going on in the area. Now, let me say this. If you're higher, that's not a problem. You just need to make sure you're providing that higher level of care. How are you differentiating yourself from others? I have a client interested in having a caregiver travel out of state with them by plane for family emergency. Is that beyond the scope of my license? The way most licenses or licensing governing bodies work is that they govern services provided in the client's residence. So if your caregiver is providing services outside of the residence, then it's not regulated, right? It's not regulated. So you just need to check your policies and procedures or your rules and regulations. But I'm confident with saying it's not regulated, because how can they regulate outside of the home, right? So I can tell you, I personally have had caregivers travel. Right. So it's outside. Now, with that being said, since it's not regulated and you don't have specific rules and policies and procedures based on rules and regulations, you need to create some. Because what does that look like? Do they pay for the caregivers' airfare? Absolutely. Do they pay for the caregivers' food? Absolutely. Do they pay for the caregiver expenses around the board? Absolutely. Should the caregiver have his or her own sleeping quarters? Absolutely. Because when it's living care, that's one of the requirements, that they have private sleeping quarters, right? So you just have to make sure that you have policies and procedures to protect your business, protect your clients, protect your caregivers at all times. So you got to have some paperwork involved, but I have done it.
Okay, guys, you know what time it is. It is time to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Last but not least, if you do not have your ticket for the 2025 Home Care Empowerment Conference, what are you waiting for? Go to homecarecoaching.com and get your ticket today.